So, hello to people of YouTube. New thing we're going to do is every week give like a bit of a workshop, workload update. Projects we're working on, what we're doing, where we're at with stuff. And then obviously when it's interesting projects, we're obviously going to do build series and those sort of stuff. So anyway, this week, pretty busy week with a mixture of 33 that we're doing a restoration on, 15 that is sort of like at the end of the restoration now. It's all going back together, it's been painted and all that sort of stuff. So I thought I'd show you a couple of things over here. Tonight I'm actually pulling the diff out of this 350Z, which is one of my ones. This has got a welded diff in it, which I need to put, well, I've got spare diffs, but I figured as it's already welded and this car is likely going to get broken up for parts, I might as well take this one out to put into the silver car that we're doing the budget drift build series on. So I'm going to put that in tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to be pulling the diff out of this tonight, and then I'll give you a bit of a walk around what we've been up to, where we're at with different projects, and then yeah, show you a bit of taking the diff out, I guess. And then obviously tomorrow we're going to be filming the next episode of the 350Z budget build, where it will be control arms and all that sort of stuff. Alignment, oil change, maybe fit a rad of fans, basically getting it ready to take it for its first sort of like test day, probably at pod or something like that, hopefully next week. This is one that Will has been busy on for the last few weeks. I'll show you. So basically this one's had underside stripped out, all subframes, box, etc. all removed to deal with rust. So obviously a pretty common problem with Skylines, Sylvias, RX-7s, all the old Japanese stuff that we love is rust. As far as they go, this is actually a pretty good car. It's not a rotten one like a lot of them. However, they all need work, and this one is no exception to that. Show you a few bits. Strip back to bare metal. Pretty much the whole thing's been done. There's bits that haven't been done yet, but pretty much the whole thing's been stripped back to bare metal. See this side, passenger wheel arch, the floor, gearbox tunnel, all the way to the back. The boot floor and everything and rear arches have still got to be stripped. But yeah, you can see, so this car, as far as they go, pretty clean. This side has had some damage in the past, which is obviously shown now that it's all stripped. You can see it's had loads of panel beating work and it had about an inch of filler here where this is so bad. So we're going to redo all of this in the right shape. Obviously some rust back there to deal with, but nothing awful. Boomerang's out of shape where it's obviously been dented in. So yeah, as you can see, it's had some nasty repair on this side there. That's obviously part of the chassis leg, which has obviously been kind of bent in from obviously whatever damage it had here. Nothing too catastrophic, but anyway, this is all going to get cut out. Sills going to be redone. This is going to be remade. That part's going to be remade. Obviously you can see there, it's had some dodgy panel repair in the past. I think it's had outer seals on it. So this is all going to get repaired up this end. It had some horrible like 15mm plates fixed to the floor. Don't know why they were fixed onto it. Those are going to be removed, and then it can all be basically made new again. This side had a load of rust before. In here was all rotten, that was rotten, boomerang there was rotten, the sill was rotten, this inner sill, all under here, this had all gone. So we've remade all of that. Still some trimming and stuff to do to get shape back into the jacking points. This piece of the floor here, this was completely gone, so we've remade all of that. Inner sill, remade the jacking point up there, and all of the inner sill, and then all the outer sill as well. So this had all new outer sills up to that height. This stuff is all mint. If it's good condition, I don't like to touch it. We looked from the inside and everything was in great condition, so would rather not touch it. This car now needs, obviously this side, now that the driver's side's done, passenger side needs doing, and then we will be on to this rear panel, needs a load of work. This side, this had a bit of damage here, so this needs some work. There's also some rust, so that's going to need to be sorted, and then obviously all that stripped back to bare metal, any other rust sorted, and then that'll be chassis and rust wise on this one, that'll be that sorted. Subframes are going to get stripped, arms are going to get stripped, new bushes, powder coated, blah blah blah, all the usual stuff. You got Dante's S15 here. Well, the lighting's really not very nice with that stuff, but anyway, this is one we've done tube front on. This car already had an RB before, but it wasn't very nicely done, so we're going to do sort of like a full engine bay, top mount turbo, forward facing inlet, make everything nice boost pipes, tuck the wiring, etc, etc. So this will be a really nice S15 engine bay when it's done with an RB in it. So that'll be really nice when that's all done. RB sitting in there, nice custom boost pipes, all that stuff, that'll be great. My engine out of my 15, which is sat there waiting for me to, I need to go over it, check the bottom end, make sure it's all healthy, as it's done a lot of work this year. If it's all good to go, clean up a few bits, it's ready to go back in the car into the new chassis once that's all ready to go. That's just sat there waiting. Then we have James's S15, which we've done sort of full underside restoration on. And this has all been back to bare metal. Everything's been stripped. The only thing that hasn't been done is the diff and shafts, but other than that, all the arms have been done, new bushes, everything's been stripped. This went back to bare metal and then was recoated. Obviously everything was powder coated. That's another one that's kind of having full underside restoration package. Hiccups. So that's kind of like one side of what we do, the tube front stuff, custom fab work, the restoration stuff. My RX-7 sat there back there doing nothing. Need to get that ready for paint. So another one we got in at the minute is Ash from Fleet Livery Solutions. This is his Evo, which is just in for a bit of maintenance, link ECU package, then it's going to be tuned, and then this will be ready for him to do what he likes with. I think he might sell it because he wants to get something else, but we'll leave that up to him. So that's another one that's in at the minute. Just putting the ECU package on at the moment, and then it's got to go on the ramp, have some new tie rods and a couple of other bits and bobs, full alignment, and then that one will be ready to go back. That's got full link set up, CAN lambda, sensors, all the stuff you could need. My 15, the new car. Since getting it, I've done the boot floor, because for some reason the boot floor had just been cut out. There was just nothing in there, so that was just cut out. The cage, wasn't happy with a couple of the bits. The rest of the cage is alright, but it had 2 straight bars in the main hoop, no diagonal, not really sure why. So I cut the 2 straight bars out. I've put a diagonal in the main hoop to above the driver's head, and then put a harness bar in at the right height behind that. So that's good to go. I need to make sort of like a gearbox tunnel cover plate, mounts for the dash, mount the ECU master PMU, a few other bits and bobs, and then the interior is ready for paint. Got the option drift seats sat in there. Those aren't actually the seats I'm going to use in this car. I think those are going to go into another car. But option drift makes some really cool sort of like party seats. They're not for race cars as such, but that doesn't need to be FIA. It's a kind of street / race car. It's not a full-blown race car. I would rather use a good friend of mine's company, Option Drift, really cool seats. So they're making up some custom seats for me with our colours and logo and stuff like that. So they'll be really cool. Tube front that was on it, wasn't a fan of at all. So have filmed all of that, cutting it off, making the new tube front. So that is, I've got a few more bits I want to do, and then we can put the sort of like first episode of the 15 build series up. So that'll be up probably some point in the next few weeks. So yeah, the main structure of the tube front's done. Obviously cut the chassis legs back to just in front of the traction arm bracket mounts. Main tube from the strut tower down to the new chassis leg tube, and then radiator support tube which joins the chassis legs. Then you've got top tube which runs all the way around, which I'm yet to, still got to cut that and put that onto some lap joints, as that's removable if we need to. Radiator's mounted, intercooler's mounted, headlights are mounted, bonnet is mounted, wing mounts are made. These aren't the wings I'm actually going to use on the car. I am still waiting for the kit that I'm going to use for it, so I don't really want to finalise the front end till I've got the full kit, so as I can get everything exactly how I want it. I'm swapping these doors. They're really nice. They've got poly windows and carbon door cards that look really cool. However, I am a bit of a weirdo. I don't like windows being shut, so I drive around with the window open even in the coldest of weather. So I'm going to get rid of those doors and put some doors back on it that have electric windows. That's that one. The PMU should be here Monday, and then I can get on with that. And we've got to make full chassis harness and everything. So that's probably it for a kind of like workshop update. Probably a bit of a boring video for you to watch, but I figured it'd be good to give like a regular update of what we're doing and sort of stuff we have in. So I'm going to get on with this now, get the diff out of this, ready for fitting it into the silver one tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to be doing bolting the hydro in for good, putting the diff in, adjustable arms for the back, putting the steering wheel in it, doing alignment on it. Then it's basically, mechanically it is ready to go and do a skid. Hopefully going to be testing it at Pod on Wednesday if we can. I'm going to film a little bit of taking the diff out and I'll see you in a bit.